Should you buy an Apple iMac, MacBook Pro, or MacBook Air to play The Sims 4? The answer isn't as simple as yes or no. In this video, I'll be helping you make an informed decision with points both for and against buying a Mac to play The Sims 4. Hi, I'm Ouiza and welcome back to OuiSims, an online community where I help you bridge the gap between tech and Sims with a slice of entertainment on the side. If you like this video, please let me know by leaving a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content just like this, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. If you have any questions or you just want to hang out, I'm streaming over on Twitch every Wednesday for the month of July at 7 p.m. South African Standard Time. Check where that is locally for you on the screen at the moment. So whether you should buy an Apple computer for The Sims 4 is probably one of the most common questions I get. And then I was like, maybe I should ask you how you feel about Apple and The Sims 4. And I got quite a mixed batch of answers. I actually got equal fors and against to playing The Sims 4 on a Mac. This guide is specifically for people, Simmers, who are looking for a computer to play The Sims 4 on and want to know whether Mac or iMac or MacBooks are the right choice for them. My aim is for this to be as unbiased as possible, and I want to give you a thoughtful approach to purchasing your new computer baby. Different people have different needs at different stages of their lives, and you should, where possible, have technology that matches those needs. Since 2007, I've used everything from custom computers that I have designed, built, upgraded over the years, to high-end gaming laptops, high-end for its time, to MacBooks, back to my gaming laptop, to now my baby Anubis, who I love very much, and I speak a lot about him. I actually feature, it's my setup tour over here in the corner if you want to check that out. So I've seen and been and used a large portion of the spectrum of like personal computing devices that are available, and I've used each of these, including the Mac, for at least 2 years at a time. So I've experienced both the good and the bad in all of these different kinds of personal computing devices. And that is why I'm going to package and put this information forward to you so that you can decide based on some of these points that I'm mentioning. And obviously it's not everything, but these are the most important ones that I think are to mention, because there's no one size fits all. I have 3 arguments for and 3 arguments against buying a Mac for The Sims 4. I'll be starting with the reasons why you should consider buying a Mac. The first is a high quality product. Nearly everyone who has ever owned an Apple product for more than 4 years will tell you that their device still works perfectly fine. When you buy an Apple device, you're basically buying yourself something that will definitely last you for a good number of years. I have first-hand experience with this. Apple devices are built to last. And because they have a relatively small product range, that they can consistently make these high quality products. The same cannot be said for Windows though. You have good computers, not so good computers, better computers. There's a very wide variety of quality that you really, without a lot of research and understanding and experience with either companies or whatever, you're not guaranteed to actually get a product like an Apple, which will definitely last you. So yes, first point for getting an Apple device to play The Sims 4 is you're getting a high quality product. Second is that a MacBook is part of a convenient ecosystem of Apple products. Apple products work really well independently, but they operate way better when you connect them and you build a little ecosystem of Apple products. A MacBook syncing to iCloud so that you can access your computer's contents on your phone, while you can just airdrop practically anything from any of your devices to any other Apple devices, like from your friends, for example. And it's quite cool when you open your laptop and it automatically unlocks because it senses your watch, and ta-da, you're in. I wasn't able to appreciate this until I actually experienced it firsthand. It is a little bit of a thing. It's you have to buy many to experience it in its fullness, and the more Apple products you have, the more of that seamlessness you experience. But you will still get a good product even if all you get is a single MacBook, for example. That kind of seamlessness, that kind of thing where you can start on one device and pick it up on another, as if you were working on that one the entire time, is not something I've been able to find in Windows products yet. This kind of convenience is very attractive. The third reason as to why you should consider getting a MacBook to play The Sims 4 is whether you have other reasons for specifically needing a Mac. So either from like school requirements or something like that, The Sims 4 can run on the oldest of tech, like at low settings. It's not controversial at all that The Sims 4 will run on nearly anything. Like it's actually quite amazing like how they've been able to make a game that is so compatible across the board of different like hardware specifications. So even an entry-level MacBook Air is capable of running The Sims 4. That's not the controversial part. If you aren't too fussed about either how your game looks or how smooth it is, like what are your frame rates or resolutions or things like that, then it is perfectly acceptable to play The Sims 4 with whatever packs and custom content you want on a Mac, with the disclaimer that you are not guaranteed to have good gameplay experiences at medium, high, and ultra settings with all of the packs, with all the DLC. If all you want is just to be able to play The Sims 4 when you have the time or when you feel like it, you're not particularly committed to all the expansion packs and DLC and don't have like 20 gigabytes of custom content, and if, for example, you need a Mac like mandatory for school, then, and you still want to be able to play The Sims 4, then that's great. Then you can play The Sims 4. It will just maybe be at like lower settings, and you can adjust your settings until you find like the right mix that works for you and your computer, with all your packs and your with all your DLC and all of your custom content. A Mac is capable of running the game if you're not too fussed about having absolutely everything and playing at the highest settings. Now moving into points against buying an Apple computer to play The Sims 4. The first one, and it really, in my humble opinion, is the most important one, and that is price. Affordable and Apple, those are not two concepts that sit in the same basket. Simply put, if budget is important to you, it might not be the best decision to go with Mac. The first price point where you will get a dedicated graphics card, which is essentially your key to ultra gaming, and at that level a system which will allow you to play with all the DLC, all of the custom content you would want, where you are going to be able to access that kind of quality of gameplay, is at $1,300 for the entry level iMac, the desktop, the 21.5 inch. I think it's the 4K model. And if you don't want a desktop, if you specifically want a laptop, so a MacBook, you can't get it in a MacBook Air, you can't get it in a MacBook 13 inch with 2 Thunderbolts, you can't get it in a MacBook 13 inch with 4 Thunderbolts, you will only get access to a MacBook with a dedicated graphics card at the MacBook 16 inch. And the MacBook 16 inch comes in at $2,400 at time of recording. And I cannot, with a clear conscience, recommend an Apple product. And that is probably why for the time being, I can't foresee that I will be recommending Apple until we see what the price points of their new range will be with their new processors, but that is completely aside. I cannot with a clear conscience recommend a product that is $2,400 for an experience that you can get at a quarter of that price. And it is not justifiable to spend that much extra money if all you want is to be able to play The Sims 4 in ultra settings. As a reference point, if you haven't seen my other videos on different recommendations that I make for laptops, and for reference, the gaming laptops that I recommend, and gaming at this point literally just means dedicated graphics processing units, dedicated GPUs, start at $650. Like, just to say $600. So at $600 on a Windows computer, you're going to be able to play The Sims 4, and I'm specifically referring to the options I recommended in those videos, and you can check them out over there. But you can play all those packs and download all your custom content and everything that you could possibly want for a quarter of the price. The highest end laptop that I recommended in my second video was the MSI Prestige, and it is very similar in price to the iMac 21.5 inch 4K, which is the first one in that range that will get you a dedicated graphics card. But this one's just a little beast. Like, it will run everything and anything that you want for The Sims 4 and do everything else fabulously. So that's the first point against. The second point that I am putting forward, as to why you should not buy an Apple iMac or MacBook for The Sims 4 is that they are not built for gaming. This does not mean that they are incapable of gaming. It means that you are going to subject your hardware to stresses that it is not optimized for. For example, having a gaming laptop does not mean that gaming is the only thing that you can do on that laptop. What it does mean is that the features you are paying for beyond a certain base point are going to enable you to play games very well. Apple is very much geared towards productivity related things, and at the higher end, video production types of things. It is a strange concept, but the best CPU and the best GPU in one thing are not necessarily the best in a second category as well. Even though Apple has their excellent quality hardware inside an entry-level $1,000 MacBook Air, that $1,000 was not spent trying to make it ready to game. That $1,000 was spent on battery life and trying to make it light and portable. The budget was not aimed for gamers. A very simple little litmus test about whether something is suitable or not for gaming is to see the kinds of temperatures that it reaches. So I have seen evidence of a MacBook Air, the new MacBook Airs, reaching 100 degrees Celsius while playing The Sims 4. So it was happening, it was possible to play the game, it's just that your laptop is capable of boiling water at that temperature. For reference, Benubis, my computer, as I'm sitting here recording this with a camera linked to my computer, which is linked to my webcam, which is linked to my mic, which is linked to many things, my CPU temperature is sitting at 43 degrees Celsius. It is not healthy for computers and laptops in particular at this point to reach temperatures of 100 degrees Celsius. You will shorten the lifespan of your hardware. It doesn't matter how good your Mac is in its build quality, by subjecting it to extreme strains that it is not built for, you will shorten its lifespan. And that's just a basic computer principle. You don't want your computer to get hot, ever. Doesn't matter if it's a Mac or a PC. And the third reason as to why you should maybe not consider getting a Mac to play The Sims 4 is the limited diversity. As I mentioned in the reasons to buy a Mac, one of the strengths of Apple is the high production quality. Like the fact that you are guaranteed to get a very good product. And because they keep such a small range, they're able to keep that quite a tight grip on making the products accessible and good quality. The reverse to that is that you may buy something that isn't as compatible with your needs as maybe what you would like. The upgradability, the standardization of Apple means that if, for example, you would like to have a computer that has a particular amount of RAM or storage, but you did not select that configuration at purchase, and iCloud storage is not the way to go. I haven't heard of it, but I haven't looked too much into it. I don't believe you can run The Sims 4 from iCloud, but point being is that if you have a 128 gigabyte SSD as your only storage in that laptop, and you have The Sims 4 and custom content and all the packs or whatever taking up 40 odd gigabytes of that, and you still have schoolwork and you still have other things that you keep on there, you're kind of stuck with that. And the upgradability is very much, it's not as simple as just taking the back off. But you can compare that to, for example, buying a laptop now, and you buy a laptop that has a certain amount of storage. Let's say it has 500 gigabytes of SSD and it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. You keep the laptop, you look after it, it's a very good laptop from a very good brand, very reliable brand, and you decide in a year or two, actually I would like to increase my storage to 1 terabyte. There is usually a place when you take off the back of that laptop, and it's not complicated to do, you can do it yourself, to install a new storage device or to install a new RAM stick. And that kind of flexibility and that kind of changing with you as you change isn't always possible with Apple devices. And there are 3 reasons for and 3 reasons against why you should consider buying a Mac for The Sims 4. I hope that you feel better equipped to make the decision as to whether you find that Mac is right for you or not. Let me know in the comments about what factors are most important to you. Whether I mention them or not in the video, I want to hear what is most important to you. Thank you so much again for watching. Hope you found it valuable, and I'll see you in the next one. Sul.